Welcome, ladies and gents, to FACEIT TV here with me, DDK, and James, James with the Horsehead edition of James. This is we're going to go to Epsilon and dAT for the first match, and there is some. This isn't just James wearing a Horsehead for no good reason. There is this will be symbolizing something very special, and whenever you see this Horsehead, that means that there are giveaways going on, and you have to type !raffle. That's what this indicates. If you ever see this, we're never going to tell you what it means ever again. But if you see this Horsehead, that means it's raffle time. You're going to spam those raffles, and you can win some giveaways. But yeah, I guess how's it going, James? Right, it doesn't seem very talkative right now, which I guess puts the burden on me. Anyway, guys, let's check out how the G2A.com tournament has progressed so far. Let's jump into the brackets real quick before we go into this match. We do have, of course, some matches already played for the European edition here of the G2A.com Cup. They are playing for $10,000, which is a hefty prize purse that G2A have been so lovely and kind to put up for us and the teams. So 2-0 over 3D Max, LDLC, no one ever questioned it. Mouse Sports with a pretty damn awesome performance against Flipside. Again, looking pretty strong there, so that's going to shape up to be a really nice semi-final. Then over on this side, we've got these two matches here today. Epsilon and dAT, Aligon and Hellraisers. So Epsilon and dAT, Epsilon, they got FXYO in the mix again, which is really, really weird, but of course a little bit awkward as well considering the past there, but we'll probably get into that in a moment. And of course, Hellraisers and Aligon. Aligon's had loads of different players jumping in and out of their lineup, so it's going to be very interesting to see how that's developing now. And Hellraisers, they've been doing better and better. And right, well, I think we're jumping into the knife round now, guys. So we're going to get kicking off with this match right now. Don't even know if that's a thing. Really, James is intimidating me with this horsehead getup. But either way, Inferno. It's a great place to start a best of one. Epsilon and dAT. I mean, this is going to be very interesting. dAT, AdreN, flamie, Blade, bondik, WorldEdit. These guys have stuck together for ages now. We saw them playing loads of games, all in the last season of Star Series. They stuck together. Obviously, Blade has been doing some coaching for Hellraisers, and that's really helped Hellraisers out quite massively. So I'm really curious to see how dAT are going to be progressing with their game here. Obviously, Epsilon have been a pretty scary team. Scream, amazing as always, and I think he's been getting been having better showings lately as well. But also, with FXYO jumping back into the mix, things are really interesting. Obviously, Biggie in there as well. So very, very interesting mix-up there. You can see the bets here as well. Everyone thinks that Epsilon's going to take this pretty easily. And James, are you back with us now?
Hello.
So what do you think about this matchup? Because I think dAT can have a solid chance here.
I think with the recent bets I've seen on various matches, I think people are a bit too attached to like star players from teams, and are not thinking of teams overall. We saw that earlier this week actually, but and again, you know, dAT are definitely being underestimated here by the gamblers among us. So definitely all to play for. This is a best of 3. I know there are over 40,000 people betting on this match on CS:GO Lounge at least. So should be an interesting one.
And so if you have some nades on, well, I think AdreN didn't have any nades. They does get taken down very early on, but WorldEdit and Blade the one with the grenades. There's 2 smokes there, so there's loads of ways they could use that. Probably for the B site though, we are seeing them taking control banana. Obviously, on the B site, you can drop 1 on coils, you can drop 1 on first oranges and get the plant down. So that could be a really good use for the 2 smoke grenades. Do you have any theories behind the 2 smokes, James?
Well, I mean, if they use them on the B site, well, that's a nice smoke from the arch area. They could use them on the B site. Well, that's a smoke for arch, definitely. Yeah.
So I guess it's going to be 8 then, and
maybe arch and pits.
We're going to see WorldEdit chuck his smoke pretty soon as well. Let's check his perspective out real quick, see where he's going to place that one. Obviously, these investments can really make the difference with these nades, and this is obviously this is a team that's run so many strats together. They've got this rehearsal down, so we'll have to see how this is executed. They've already lost 1 player though, but they're in on top of the site. They're making the frags happen. This is beautiful work here from dAT. And they only lost 1 player on the entry to the site and took down 3, so that's really wonderful work. And Epsilon now have to just win these angels. And that's some decent positions here.
Yeah, you can see both Epsilon players coming from the same way, and that's going to be Uzzziii down through the smoke. GMX with only 6 HP, going to be playing for exits here pretty much. try and get some extra money for the next round. Not going to happen. So that is a solid round 1 for dAT. Yeah, and I think they could have done two things with those smokes. They could have potentially walled off the front of B and planted it at the front of the site, although I think that's unlikely on a pistol round. Again, smoking arc, smoking pit, obviously the second option there, which is the one they went for.
Yeah, this in the first round is the exact reason why I feel like dAT have pretty good chances in this match against Epsilon, because Epsilon is a team that's changed their lineup loads. They've got quite a lot of individual skill there, but maybe more so, you know, with the likes of Stream and FACEIT and so on. But when it comes to dAT, they've stuck together for so long. They're a team that have developed loads of strategy. We already know Blade is very strategically minded from the work that he's done with Hellraisers. So we just saw a really well executed strat that they've obviously drilled offline. So that bodes very well for their T side. And Epsilon, I think their struggles will all be on the T side.
Yeah, and for those at home, I mean, the purpose of those two smokes is essentially to eliminate crossfire in both those positions as they approach the sites, which worked out quite well for them.
I love the UMP purchase, actually. Yeah. The UMP is actually really nice. It does quite a chunky amount of damage, and the recoil control is actually pretty easy. It kind of just, for the most part, just goes straight up. So you can control that pretty well.
Scream has a deagle as well. We should watch him. He recently got a 4K with 1 deagle, but might not find any action just yet because we do have a 4-man push towards the B bomb site here. WorldEdit sneaking through the smoke. That's going to be the first kill with the UMP. Teammates going to take out Biggie as well. That's a clear sight straight away. You can see there was a rotation frag towards the A site. Blade's going to hold down the banana area until Scream has his way. So it begins. Let's see if Scream can get any more frags. It looks like they're going to save. They both have armor and helmet, actually, so they're going to go for the save here.
Another really cool thing about that round as well is that they sent the guys with the umps kind of in the forward positions. So we had WorldEdit, who was on this kind of the lurker role. He had an ump, and we had flamie, who had the AK. He was there with the B push, but he was kind of in the back. So the way that they actually staggered the rush.
Scream, please.
Was to do with all the weapons that they were holding. So keep the AK in the back, let the guys with the crappier weapons go up in front. So you can see they've really fought this out very well, and I love that.
I think Scream is my favorite person to watch in terms of streaming and so on, because his aim is just so sick. Like it's awesome to watch. Like that's all I have to say. Those if you haven't seen those deagles, look on Reddit once we are offline, of course. But, I mean, that dude's just something else. So, FXio has found his way back onto Epsilon. Once again, we are paused here, so we have a bit of time to have a quick chat. But FXio has found his way back onto Epsilon, not without some controversy. As you saw on his Twitter, he didn't know he was back on the team, but then, I mean, he must have surely, who knows. But he is back on Epsilon, at least for the time being. Biggie does complete the roster. Do you know much about Biggie?
I don't actually know a huge amount about Biggie, no. But it does seem that he is an official stand-in. So
he is officially a stand-in. Wow, we've got 2 case hardens. I think I prefer FXIOs.
Either way, though, the thing is, this could get quite upsetting for Epsilon, because if dAT continue this approach where they're able to win these rounds by having like really solid strats and they get the execution behind these pushes, so they're actually making the frags on top of it. If they're doing that in these like key situations where Epsilon have like a really shaky economy, then Epsilon are always kind of like, we kind of have to buy, but it's like FAMAS, and we can't really find our AWPs, we can't really get enough grenades. Then I think that could possibly run away with map number 1. I mean, map 2 is going to be is going to be the pick of dAT actually, and it's going to be Overpass. So that's even more worrying for Epsilon. Like, once again, a map that really will help the team that's stuck together and put in all the work.
Absolutely, and I think we saw an example of that yesterday on SLTV qualifiers, where MyXMG were just having an absolute rout on Overpass and Inferno. Obviously, they were playing up against was it Aligon? Was it Flipside?
It was a Flipside.
Flipside, yeah, Aligon playing. So up against Flipside, who is, I mean, you could argue that they're potentially a mixed team, because, you know, Schneider's pretty new to the team. And I think they had a second player who was fairly new or a stand-in as well. Palf, yes. So you know, that you had your kind of your solid team who've been there for a while. They know how each other play. They're flashing each other in, and that the counter flashes on the CT side, the counter flashes and the counter aggression was just too strong.
Yeah, and Maeve standing in for Freeze in that match. Maeve was doing really well.
Yeah,
like really, like I think there's a lot of attention that goes to the really aggressive AWPers, and of course, you know, the two. Well, I guess Titan aren't necessarily. We wouldn't consider them a top 3 team at the moment necessarily, but they have the capability to be a top 3 team. And you got your Kenny S.
Kenny S is a top 10 team on his own.
and Fnatic have JW. So you got a lot of buzz around these AWPers that are aggressive and do that really well. But there's a lot to be said for the AWPing like Maeve was doing, where it's just very conservative, it's very defensive, but he doesn't miss. He doesn't miss those shots. The thing is about the aggressive AWPers is they find more opportunities to get shots. They use more surprise, but it's high risk, high reward. But then you know contrast the defensive AWPers, gets way less opportunities. But if only they just hit the shots, then that's it. Like they've done an amazing job, and they've given their team like a really big advantage on the defense. And that's exactly what May was. I don't think he missed a single shot. I swear. If you go back,
he may not have.
I don't think he missed a single shot from these defensive angles. It was really, really good.
Yeah.
And that helped them a lot. But
yeah, but generally speaking, you know, team and roster stability is always accounts for quite a lot versus an unstable roster. And that's why in a match like this, that should definitely have a higher percentage on CSGO Lounge. Because I mean, you see it time and time again. Just a stable roster has an inherent advantage in that it is a stable roster. So they have their drills. I mean, I haven't seen drills like my XMG did on Overpass from any other team. Like
there's some really nice ones, yeah.
They had crazy ones. Like you see these slow setups from the T's on Overpass where they have a guy in the sewer area. He sets up to throw the Molotov over barrels. They were rushing the site with the Molotovs non-stop, just straight in exactly the right place. Just the way Titan used to approach Inferno B, where they had the flashbang come in and the Molotov so the person's blind and on fire. They have exactly the same thing on Overpass with a rush as well. And that's not just an eco rush, that's a full buy rush as well. Flash the site, Molotov the barrels, it was beautiful.
This is one of the things that LDLC were really, really good at, and this is what like Happy is so good at designing these kinds of strats, and he's done it on loads of different maps. I first noticed LDLC like last February, I think, with a very similar strat on Nuke. It was like this ingenious, like very quick rush. Every single like little bit of it's thought out. It looks like very, very fast and flashy, but if you actually go into it, you can see that actually a lot of thinking has been done. That you know, the whole round has been set up. So at the start of the round, they're making sure that okay, well, there's a player here, so they can't get flanked. So that you know they have setup time. They have all these different phases to the rush, and then everyone knows where everyone's supposed to be, and everyone's hitting the right spots at the right time. They got the smokes to like try to delay the guys rotating who are reacting to the rush. And then you see LDLC do strats like this. They're so clean, and then you see other teams try to do it. And it's like it's like kind of sloppy. People are a little bit slow. Maybe the nades are a little bit off. They just don't have the crispness. And when teams like are able to pull off stuff like that, like we saw, I wouldn't call them XMG, but it's Unuane were doing. That's like you said. We had the contrast there because we had them doing these strats, which would look really clean, almost LDLC-esque from the past. And then we would see flip side trying to do kind of similar things, but missing lots of parts to it
like
and not having the rehearsal.
Unuane sounds like a planet from Battlestar Galactica or something.
It's a weird name for a team, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very strange. Like team names are like a weird thing because you can have like a ridiculous team name, like well, this is cheesy or like weird. Why it doesn't sound cool at all. But then if they have amazing results, you kind of associate. You get like this weird association.
Ninjas in pajamas?
Exactly. It's a very good example. In Quake 3 is Ice Climbers, which is just like a really weird name. But then they become like the staple of like the top of the top, the most elite, and then you make the association. It's like, well, it's Ice Climbers. It's cool, man.
Yeah.
It's cool, and because the players make the name. I guess there's probably a line to that. But still. Well, I mean, Unuane, though, is a little bit of a weird one.
Yeah, I hope they get a new name soon.
It's not going to win any team name names of the year awards. Those don't really exist.
Razzies.
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 What's Razzies?
Razzies is like the invert of the Oscars. So Oscars is awards for great movies and stuff. The Razzies is like worst movies, worst actors.
But
you're not familiar with the Razzies?
Does anyone turn up to those? Because
Halle Berry turned up to them, and she took her Razzie and gave a marvelous speech. It's on YouTube. Yeah, because the fact that normally nobody turns up.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So it was on the news because she turned up and she was really grateful and excited to receive her Razzie. So definitely check it out on YouTube. I
guess you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah,
I suppose.
you know.
But I guess it's her fault as well. Like you read the script and you're like, oh, this is amazing.
How much?
This is amazing. Or also that. Yeah, that's true. But I don't think she ever had like a struggling career. I don't think she would ever had to have done something just purely for the money.
I'm a fan of Halle Berry. She's awesome.
She's awesome. All right. So we're still waiting for an update as to what is causing the delay. So we're having some timeouts going on. I think it's break time. Yeah, we'll jump into a quick break, guys. We'll be back very shortly, hopefully with the resuming of this match. Epsilon and dAT map number 1 on Inferno. Stay with us here for the G2A.com Cup.
G2A.com, the best video game store ever! Fast as lightning, solid as a rock, cheap as duck! What's more, you can sell on it because it's also a marketplace. Remember G2A.com, the best video game store ever!
esportsbets.com, the service where gamers will bet real money on virtual events. Only here, the best odds and widest coverage of games from Dota 2 to Hearthstone.
We have over 200,000 users registered.
Join us. Prove that you are the best versed in esports. Who will get the first blood? Who will take the first Roshan? Who will win the knife round? Participate in the race of predictors and earn real money. The more bids, the more bonuses. Reward for your first deposit up to $600. esportsbets.com. Foresight, passion, and calculation.
Hello friends, once again here. We are live on FACEIT TV for the G2A.com European Cup. The players are battling it out for $10,000. We have ourselves dAT and Epsilon currently fighting off on Inferno, and it's looking, despite public opinion and how the betting is going, looking like dAT is kind of living up to my expectations a little bit here, which is a fairly sound strategical team. I mean, they've come a long way. Do you remember, James? Do you remember a few months ago? Do you remember when we were doing dAT games upon dAT games? When they were looking really, well, they were suffering. Let's just put it that way. They were suffering. They weren't having good games. It's been a long and tumultuous path, but they are looking better these days. And we'll have to see if Epsilon can bounce back from their poor start.
They've given Scream the UMP. I would have given the UMP to someone else. Given the Deagle.
Yeah. He's the guy that needs the Deagle. Needs the Deagle.
So, aggressive positioning here from Uzzziii, going for a quick pick, will survive for now with 14 HP. Gonna get out of there. Scream still with the UMP, just having a look around. Gonna smoke off mid and move over to the B site. While there is some time to kill there. Fexio holding an aggressive position. We've got Scream with one flash on him actually. Yeah, he's gonna throw the pop for his teammates to peek maybe. Although they seem to have gone for a rotation back towards A. And there is going to be a stack from the dAT team in that area. I think that smoke on Arch probably triggered a rotation there, and the flank is coming in here from Fexio.
So he's going to get taken down immediately, but he did put WorldEdit down to 2 health. So that's maybe something, maybe Scream can do something amazing here with the Ooh, almost gets taken down through the smoke. They are just rampaging through, and it's pretty expected. So nice cleanup here from dAT. Once again, they have a methodical approach to the round. They're not looking anything like a mixed team, and it's very refreshing to see. I mean, maybe I'm tooting their horn a little bit too much at the moment, but I have seen
pointing out, though,
I've seen a lot of mixy teams that rely on individual skill. It's the easier way to approach the game, and so I'm happy to see this.
Wow, so Epsilon, it's the first buy round, and they are completely all in. No helmets to speak of, and look at the money on their team. They've got $300 across 5 players, so they are going to be flat broke if they don't win this round.
Yep, and fortunately for them though, with the extra bonus on the money, they can just eco once and then buy again for the 5th round. So it's not too terrible.
Well, 0-5 on the CT side, I'd say, is terrible.
It's definitely terrible, but at least they can have another chance to get back in it relatively soon. We'll have to see if like what dAT are planning to do here, because obviously they are going to understand their situation. So we do have a bit of a boost going on there up onto the quad roof with Biggie. So they've got a nice little setup here between Scream and Biggie, that they can help each other on like 2 on quad side. It's a nice little setup. It is quite powerful, and we'll have to see if dAT have the nades to kind of circumvent this setup. They're going to go for their mid stage now, and the nades do go down, but excellent work from the team play from this setup of Epsilon. They managed to clean up most of the players, and it's just one left in WorldEdit. So WorldEdit was just here to catch rotations, but now his job is to do as much damage as physically possible. He needs to really try to find at least 2 frags would be really nice. As James pointed out, these guys are pretty broke right now. That would be a good way to save this round without winning it here. It's going to go down for naught, so it's like Epsilon. They're not going to face that grim reality that you were afraid of.
That was a pretty huge round for Epsilon, only losing 1 player. Huge hold there on the quad side, surprising the terrorists with the boost onto the terrace.
Yeah.
So excellent work there, and that will give them a little bit of money in the bank, but still, it's
it was a good. It was actually a good counter setup to exactly the play that they were going to go for. They were hoping that there would just be 1 guy on quad they could isolate with the arch smokes, but that wasn't the case.
Uzzziii going for the fast picks here. WorldEdit has got an AWP, and is going to be searching for a pick. He may be the first person to find some contact on the dAT side right now, although we do have some people approaching mid as well. You can see flamie is just going to jump into the apps right now. Not going to find anyone there though, as they are playing the quad and arch traditional positions. So you can see Fexio in a little corner there, and Biggie hiding behind this wall.
They have Scream, who's also doing the same position as before the last round, where he kind of does apartments kind of in a way that he is also like just giving up pit, but helping his teammate on quad, which is Biggie. And so this is a bit of a mix-up on this position. So let's see if flamie can do the damage. Ooh, that's a great shot there. That's another one. Oh, flamie gonna team kill him. For all the good that flamie did for his team, he gets team killed. It's beautiful.
How on earth did that happen?
I don't know. I think he just misinterpreted the situation just straight through the smoke. Either way, the result is still the same here. Epsilon got a 3-on-4. Make that a 2-on-4 now, as what it does come in with the AWP. So they're going to take the round, and that's really encouraging to see that have the entry fragging capabilities there. That was a 1-on-2 from flamie right there, with him running through the smoke, let's not forget.
Yeah, that first frag was massive, and there's a good estimation of where the second player would be. It was hidden behind the pillars there, so 2 huge frags open up the round for that, and that's going to be Epsilon back in dire straits. I mean, that round was critical for both teams. You can see neither of them have much money here, and we'll see if Epsilon choose to force it. They've got 2 guns already, so they could potentially go for 3 more here, or 2.5, as Scream only has 1,400 in the bank. Force Fire does indeed come out. Going to drop for each other, GMX with the FAMAS. Only 1 diffuse kit, so we'll have to bear in mind where Biggie is playing, just in case that comes into play later on. He is going towards the quad area, so bear that in mind. Aggressive positioning here from Epsilon. Again, Uzzziii just peeking with his knife so he can move in and out as fast as possible, but he may find himself in trouble here. We've got bondik up there as well.
Now the pop flash could come in. We saw this work to great effect with MSL from Unuane just yesterday. It'd be interesting to see if Epsilon can find the same success there. They're not pop flashing over just yet. Looks like they're going to leave one in sandbags at least. One thing I had to say about that is that what they've done as well here is that they've broken. They broke that quad setup from Epsilon, and that setup was the whole point of it is that it allows them to stop mid takes. Go so well.
I just want to quickly point out, you see Biggie's facing the wall, just in case one of his teammates gets flashed. As you saw in that round where they did the hold, he doesn't get flashed and he can hold, and that's how they won that previous round.
And they've tripled up on that position now as well, which is really cool to see. They're trying to do a bit of a one-upmanship there. flamie kind of breaking their hold on quad the previous round. Obviously, this is a huge focal point for Epsilon's defense, and it's really an effective choice too.
Worth noting as well that they've Screamers pushed towards quad, and Effective is holding apps now and putting the stronger aimer in that position. But it push is going to come in. 5-man push onto the B bomb site now. We've got Uzzziii and GMX to hold. Uzzziii being hunted down from both sides. Blade's going to take him out with assistance from flamie. Can they find the rest? It looks like it's going to be a 4-man retake here for Epsilon.
And this is going to be very, very interesting now because dAT have a great setup. They don't have construction though, so there is hope here. We have Scream deep in onto that bomb site, trying to make his way in, but that smoke is slowly going to go away and he will get some visibility, but instantly taken down by WorldEdit. Scoped in on that very position, and it's going to be another frag for him onto Biggie, and we are going to get a pause here as this retake was completely foiled for Epsilon, and once again we're seeing a great execution on these pushes from dAT.
Yeah, very well played by dAT once again, and they get the last gun as well, so that's going to be clean for Epsilon. So looks like Epsilon are finding themselves in the deep darkest parts of the internet right now, so unfortunately, looks like we're going to have to go to break again while they try and solve these issues they're having.
Wait. Before we do that,
I
want to do some just talk some strats and theories and stuff. Because,
let's do it.
Because
what's going on?
Because with Epsilon, they had that setup on quad, and that's really interesting because a lot of teams, obviously, like the standard setup, you have like 1 man on arch, 1 man over at quad, and you got a guy kind of fiddling around in apartments.
The guy fiddling around in the apartment.
That's the official title for that. What that guy's
supposed
to be doing.
Are we late enough to talk like this?
Either way, that's kind of the standard thing. And so what that means is that obviously when teams are taking middle, as we saw dAT do originally, you throw your smoke over to arch side if you want to go for the full A take. If you don't smoke arch side, if you smoke quad side, obviously you're kind of attacking into arch. So that position, you can then smoke it off afterwards and then try to wrap onto the A site, but then if you go for that style of take, it's a lot slower and the rotation will come in much quicker because it's harder to get onto the site fast. If you just get in from quad, you can even plant the bomb almost straight away. So that's kind of if you want to take A, that's like the ideal way to do it. It's just eliminate the idea of arch completely, just get out quad really fast. And that's really strong and powerful. We've seen many teams run amazing setups like that, where they have the nades going over to the truck for the pit, where they get the arch smoke and they just like all funnel up and they get the guys for apartments. And it's like really hard hitting, really fast, hard to stop. But to kind of counter that, we saw Epsilon kind of adjusting by saying, okay, we're going to put 2 guys on quad. And then obviously, if they actually do go for that attack, then they're going to run against 2 of us at once. We can do the counter flashes, and they were great aimers. So that's going to be hard to actually break. So it was really cool for me to actually see that flamie could just walk in and kill them both, because I like the theory from Epsilon, because you don't see it. I mean, do you see that very often, that kind of setup? Doubling up or tripling up there?
15% of the time.
It's not common.
What's also worth noting is that if quad does get smoked off, they run the boost position so they can see over the smoke and still protect them. And again, facing the wall, the boost guy facing the wall is also an important factor of that, because if they all get flashed, then there's no defense, basically. So again, that's something that's very important. You also see that. You often see that but from terrorists in Banana as well. You'll have somebody, they'll be up near the car, but one of them is just going to be stuck with his head facing logs. So if you see if you see that that CT counter flash and peak that you saw from MyXMG yesterday, then they can still mount an offense against that.
Yeah, and it's like James mentioned earlier, like this point of like, all right, what was the purpose of the smokes and the flashes? Well, it's to isolate the CTs away from the crossfires and all that kind of stuff. Isolate the players so that you have like a huge numbers advantage as you're pushing into the positions as the terrorists. Well, again, that it kind of plays against that because again, if you got your guy in pit or you got your guy on apartments, again, the way these fast rushes work, usually again, smoke off the arch guy. The quad guy gets 1-on-5, and then there's the guy in pit, he gets smoked off. So this tries to, again, circumvent that idea by having two guys in the same place so that the grenades from terrorists don't do as much damage. But yeah, we can see that Epsilon is sticking to this strategy still. And usually if teams, like we saw a big struggle coming in yesterday with Flipside on Inferno, they only got 3 rounds on the T side. That was it. And they could never break middle. So looks like we're going to go live. Could actually talk more about that, but we're going live, James. So no break for you.
We are going live indeed. So let's see what Epsilon have to offer. Might not be much as they are on the eco. Got P250s and GMX's gun is unknown due to that bug on Steam. Wow, what a snap from WorldEdit. Great play. See, he's got a big mouse pad with a swing like that. So
big mouse pad. You know what they say about people with big mouse pads, James?
What did they say?
Big arms?
Big arms?
Big arms.
That's like, that makes no sense.
Why not?
You don't need big arms to have a big mouse pad.
Hey, dude, you
don't even need an arm to have a big mouse pad. You can have a prosthesis and still have a big mouse pad.
Alright then.
Well, glad we settled that. We can see the 4-man push on the B site from Epsilon. So nothing doing there. WorldEdit just going to stop the flank while they slowly emerge onto the A site. Being careful. You can see the flashbangs there. GMX going to peek, trying to find out some information. WorldEdit now. He's up against a P2000, so I don't think he's going to be too worried. That said, he has been dinked. His bell has been rung. He's got 17 HP. So now the race is on to save his AWP. He's going to need some assistance from his teammates. Going to have to run for his life now because he is a feather stroke away from destruction.
And one quick note, again, for anyone who's a little bit newer to Counter-Strike or anything like that, or kind of some strategical elements. Obviously in that position for Epsilon where they're going to be able to buy in the following round, they got a very, very tiny investment, if anything at all. Stacking is really smart because you need the numbers advantage. If they don't go to your site and you don't get the 5-on-2 or 3 or whatever it is, then you can just go for the exit frags afterwards and try to do damage that way. And that's like a really good way to play around like that. So Epsilon had the right idea.
We've got a 3-man push down Banan right now. Not going to go so well for Uzzziii. But bondik will get, GMX will get a trade frag on bondik. Well, they're doing more work on Banana, taking out GMX. All of a sudden, 2 people down on Banana on the CT side. Very early in this round. Flamie going to get dinked, but does get the frag. So all of a sudden, there's 2. This is really, really bad for Epsilon. They're looking at 7-1 right now on the more favored side, the CT side. They lost a pistol, which wasn't a great start. Going to be FACEIT left. He hasn't seen an AWP all day, and that's no good because that's why he's on the team.
Yeah, and you can see that banana push. I mean, the problem there was when you're going to, there's like a super safe way to do it, which is having the smoke from a teammate who smokes deep banana from CD spawn or something, or even from arch side, and then you do the 2 molotovs, like the 2 incendiaries, so that if like one deep and one in front of the smoke directly and then one behind that. So if they are pushed in front of the smoke like they were there, they just die. And that's obviously the most optimal way to do it. But they didn't have any money. They don't have any cash. So they're having to just take these risks. And it's very heartbreaking for them so far that they're not able to get much going their way out of these risks.
Yeah, so it looks like they've identified B as a weak spot. And they're putting 3 people up B to mount an offensive. Now, you saw the flashbang that we've seen from MyXMG previously happen there, but there was nothing doing. Unuain, sorry. How could I forget?
I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like they've identified B as the weak spot, and they're just going to use some early aggression there, especially after their success in the previous round. But because 3 people in Banana, I mean, there's only so much space there. Like, they can't really all shoot at the same time unless you're going to push the site, which they haven't done. So either they were expecting some early aggression on an eco,
They're doing good here. Those nades really do delay the rotation just that little bit. We can see them working up middle now, trying to wrap around into quad. Smoked off arch side as well. 3 players on the bomb side though for Epsilon, so this could get a bit messy for that. They're not able to effectively take the frags. Have a look now, Scream there in the side. Just doesn't get a single thing. They're getting sprayed down. FACEIT does find 1 frag, but that's really not going to cut it. And bondik is going to finish off the round for that. That's an 8-1 scoreline there, and Epsilon, oh, I mean, dire straits for them, real dire straits. Already 8 rounds, and this was what I was worried about when we saw the first 2 rounds and had the pause. It just looked like that was destined to win this map and steamroll on the T side. It really did. Yeah,
look at the money on the T side here. They are rolling in it right now. They're popping the champagne. They've got the crystal. They're in the club with all the ladies. They've got their little private booths. Whereas Epsilon, they got like some dodgy can of Coke.
Not just a can of Coke, but it's got to be dodgy.
Yeah.
But how do you? What is a dodgy can of Coke like?
I don't know, man. It's like being imported from faraway place rather than local stuff.
All right, let's see if that can once again steamroll the defense here. Epsilon pretty much playing a very similar thing. We're seeing Biggie towards apartments this time though, and Scream, I guess. Oh, it's actually on arch side here, so they're actually mixing it up a little bit. They do have banana quite deep.
Okay, here's my
as well.
Here's my sorry, that made me laugh what you said. Here's my description of the financial status of these 2 teams, right? So dAT have got the beer and the fondue, and Epsilon have got the Jacob's crackers and no drink to go with it. So they've got really dry mouths right now, and they're really thirsty. And that is FACEIT finally with an AWP, gets the first frag, but he is being snuck up upon by flamie, who does take down Scream and Biggie. flamie doing massive work in this round. FACEIT going to try and hold the fight on his own, doing well so far. Gets another frag as well, that's a bomb down as well. GMX for support, and all down to WorldEdit, who has been a bit of a beast with the AWP himself. He is against 3, 14 seconds. Just willing to press ahead and try and get some financial, economic damage in. I mean, Epsilon won the round, but how much money do they have? You can see Biggie, he has a smoke and a flash and no money for anything else. So time's still hard for Epsilon here. I mean, they could bring it back to 8-7, which would be good considering how this has started. Less than ideal. We've got the 3-man push down banana again. This time with some nades. WorldEdit still getting the first frag. And FACEIT down to 6 HP as well. I don't know if he got tagged through the body of the other guy, but not a good start on this round for Epsilon. These pushes down B not really working out for them right now.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps you want to see some more incendiaries used by them, but as the cache is so tight, they've never really been able to play with them. And in the previous round, that was the first round where Epsilon showed that they had greater individual skill going into the fights. Because so far, look at flamie, he's entry fragging and really embracing that role so well. And flamie is a player
the rotation.
That's a lot of people have been really excited to see, because he's got a lot of talent. He seems to be a little inconsistent sometimes, but then when he has games like this, you're really reminded what he can do on a team.
They've left FACEIT on the site. He's got 6 HP, but he does have the AWP. He could get smoked off here though, which isn't going to be much use to him now. They were banking on him for a clutch play there, but if he can't see, might not be able to frag. Things getting a bit weird here. No one can see anything on the site right now.
What have they got him through the smoke onto coils? That's a great shot there. GMX going to pop up over the coils to look for the shot, but there's bondik from the side as he goes for the plan of the bomb as well. flamie in a great position, and it should be all she wrote here for Epsilon in this round, as Biggie is against 5 players. And he's going to get taken down by flamie as well. They're getting absolutely steamrolled at the moment.
Yeah, I think some people on CSGO Lounge are going to be sweating like perverts right now.
Yeah.
Because their skins are not looking very safe.
Absolutely not. I mean, we do have Overpass coming up next, but let's do a bit of a reminder here. The map pick of Inferno was actually Epsilon's choice against that. That picked Overpass for the second map. Decider will be Cache, which I think will favor Epsilon a lot more. But can they get to Cache? That's really the problem for them here. And they're back in a terrible situation where they got to go for a very small investment because they can't afford a full buy. And interestingly, in this match so far, they've never had any money. Like, they've just never had money. This is the really worrying thing. Like, every time they win a round, they never get a spree of rounds. They just get reset again. So they've never. I don't think any one of them has owned an incendiary, and this is such a crucial grenade on this map for CTs.
Worth noting the positioning of dAT at the beginning of this round. You didn't have as much aggression on Banana from them because they're keeping an eye on the Epsilon economy, or lack of, and they're putting as much distance as possible at the start of the round because they're expecting the eco here. So again, very tentative play here. You have to wonder if the CZ has made people more tentative than they might otherwise need to be. Now it's been nerfed, but here we are.
And from the position of Epsilon, economic damage is not really a big factor at the moment onto dAT. They have to just win the round. They just have to find a way to win the round. And the push is going to come in here on top of their B bomb side. Scream and Biggie and FXO are going to be coming in on the rotation. But looks like that rotation cut a little bit short there by AdreN as well. And here is Scream looking also forlorn. There's not much he can really accomplish here. FXO going to be sat in the construction looking for the exits, but very hopeless scenario for Epsilon. There's no doubt about that. The money woes, the money woes.
Can you still shoot through this wall at all?
I don't think you can. Did they patch that? Maybe with an AWP, I don't know, but they patched that ages ago.
Okay, so another round in the bag for that. 10-2 right now. I mean, hey, we've seen enough maps on Inferno where both T sides have dominated. That could entirely happen here, but when you are losing like this and you only have 2 rounds on the board, again, it gives you such a small margin for error in the second half. So people think CSGO is a game of 2 halves, and it is. But when you have when you dominate on the first half, it gives you so much space and breathing space.
It's a psychological edge.
Yeah.
It just is. You can feel more loose. You can take more risks.
Yeah, you can afford to lose rounds, however your opponent cannot.
Yeah, and in fact, actually, that's a very tangible difference. But looks like Biggie's going to be able to pick up the first frag here, as AdreN was going to go for a bit of a pressure towards that site to try and see if he could get himself the apartment's control and shut down. So this is progress here now for Epsilon. They've not been holding on to these positions well, but maybe it can change here now. No, they do still have apartments under control, and dAT looking for options now. And it's not a position that they've been in too much where they've been without options. So
Going to FXO facing the wall here, expecting the flash. There the flash is. We'll get one, but bondik gets a trade frag. So still one-man disadvantage. You can see the CTs just fishing for information, getting a small flashbang out towards the B site. But bomb is in mid, and we have 2 creepers on Arch at the moment. Just looking, there's got to be a CT somewhere, but where?
Well, what are they going to be scoping in there from library side onto the bomb side itself with that AWP and slowly working his way in. They are nading them to hell and back. They are stuck 2 players, but on the pit actually, behind that smoke. In goes the nade. It's a nice bit of damage coming in as we do have Blade able to take down Biggie. But there's one more player. Did they know? They know about the extra player there. It's Scream. He's waiting there. He likely knows that his position hasn't been given up just yet. He could be the linchpin for the round here for Epsilon. The make or break player. But I think they must be able to hear him now. They've spotted him. And in comes GMX from the side from Quad. He's going to annihilate WorldEdit. But the trade's going back and forth. It's going to go in Uzzzii's favor. Does he have... Oh, no kit. No. He is done. No kit. Epsilon lose the round. 11-2 for dAT.
That is the best def cam I've ever seen. He just flew off the shot. Brilliant. I should get a cinematics award for that one.
So very scary.
Dire Straits once again. Second last round, so can't go all in just yet. Got Uzzziii with the Deeg. Got a 5-7 on screen this time. 5-7s for Biggie and GMX, and a P250 for FXO. So again, this is just bad for Epsilon. And as well, he's been holding the angle all day, and there's just another frag for him. Got GMX gonna mount an offense. There's the flash. WorldEdit just too sharp as a butcher's pencil. Got a 2-man rotation to the B bomb site. WorldEdit's going Rambo style now. Oh wow, this guy. Scream going to try and... Oh, he was looking for the knife, didn't get it. Big E's the last guy. I don't know what to say, man.
Well, it's just all about that, really. I mean, they've had an amazing first half, and the thing is that, like, going back to your point, it being, you know, a game of two halves, but kind of in a way a little bit not really because of the psychological edge. There is a huge, like, a tangible edge because CS is all about risk taking in many spots because you don't have perfect information, so you can never understand. You can never say, oh, well, this is the optimal play because you just never have the information. So there's always an element of risk taking, whether it's big or small. And when you have the rounds to play with, you suddenly have the ability to take loads of risks, like crazy risks that could be massive rewards in spots where it can like completely cripple the opponent's economy and just win you the game from winning one round.
Look at these rotations from Epsilon. They had 3 people on the B-bomb site. Now they had 1 person on the B-bomb site. Now they send another person straight back there, just trying to find things as fast as possible, leaving Efexio on Banana on his own. He loses to AdreN again. Scream getting 2 frags there.
He's
so
like, enough of this amateur Efexio with the AWP. I'm going to pick that up.
Yeah.
Show him how it's done. But yeah, it's a lot of flexibility for dAT moving into the next half. They are looking pretty hard pressed to actually take this round now. Of course, the 3-on-4 for the T's is still absolutely not a terrible situation by any stretch of the imagination. You can see them working their positions up. Blake going to run through the smoke there, and actually Library smoked off. He wanted to squeeze through onto Arch side perhaps, but he's actually going to put some aggression in. Catches Uzzziii from the side, and that's going to leave Biggie alone on the A side. But now it's a 1-on-2 here. So what are they? 1-on-1, quick 1-on-1 with the P250. Catches GMX off guard, goes in. Scream with another frag on the AWP. And that is the first half, 12-3. dAT are looking great on map number 1.
So let's have a look at the frags right now. GMX is briefly disconnected, so we can't see him, but WorldEdit 18 and 6. Flamie right next to him with 17 and 7. Those 2 guys were putting in huge work. Obviously, WorldEdit Flasher because he's got the AWP. He's been holding down Banana, which he just held it. I mean, they haven't been able to answer him at all. Can't speak for GMX again because he's disconnected, but nobody on Epsilon reaching 10 kills yet. So this is just not a great start to this best of 3 here.
What I like about this as well is that Flamie is getting all those frags, and those are all really important ones because he's getting loads of entries. Like, he's getting a lot of entries. WorldEdit is getting a lot of like the defensive frags for their team when you know, once they've actually gotten into the positions. He's got his guy with the AWP, so it's usually a bit harder to go for the entries, a little less safe. But they don't have to worry about putting WorldEdit to that task because they got the nades and they got a guy with the AK like Flamie to just go and make the entries. So then like WorldEdit, because of all the team play going on into the positions, then the hole gets cleared out, or the Flamie punches a hole. There we go, punches a hole in the defense in some positions. It gets cleared out. Now WorldEdit can set up in a better defensive spot, catching CTs running around, rotating and stuff. And it's like a really nicely finely tuned unit. But the thing is that this match has made dAT look really good. Obviously, Epsilon have had a really hard time. They've lost absolutely the wrong rounds. Like, this happens in CS, where like you get this spot where you lose this, instead of getting the spree going, you lose that one really important round, and then you're economically screwed forever again. Yeah. And it just steamrolls.
It's brutal, isn't it? It's brutal and it's hard.
Spirals. It's a downward spiral.
Yeah, and you have the pressure to take the round. You can see they tried some early aggression on B in those situations to try and get an early advantage in a round, which would really help them take the round later on, but it just never worked out for them. Was that it was just too strong with the AWP. Yeah,
that's actually a really good point. They never really successfully took the Banana. They did it once, but that was just because it wasn't really contested all that much early on, where normally it was. Yeah. But the thing is that they didn't have the nades. They didn't have the money to actually put the nades in, and so they were like, okay, well, let's just try to like send over a flash and just all peek, and then what it is, just there defending that angle like a beast. And he often was that guy. I think it was WorldEdit almost every time at the start of the round with the AWP there, watching Car. So really, really well played. I liked how the rounds for dAT looked very planned out. Like, everyone knew what they were supposed to be doing. That looked kind of good because we saw very common trends there for how they're playing it. So I'm really pleased to see that they've stepped up their game since last season.
Yeah, I'm curious to see their CT side now, especially after we saw Unu Ain yesterday. and how strong they were with their teamwork and team, counter flashes. I really want to see if dAT have something similar to offer. If they do, it will be a very good sign for them going forward. They're going to have a fast peek here from mid from WorldEdit to try and get some early information. Bomb is down at the bottom of slope, so they won't know where that's going right now. Blade's going to take out FACEIT in mid, so good start. So far so good for the CTs. Blade is going to peek mid again. Periodical peeking just to, again, get as much info as possible. He's going to take a slightly more passive position now towards the quad area so he can retreat and get some help from his teammates. Looks like Epsilon are going to have a remaining 4-man stack towards A at least for the time being. See if they can get any openings. None yet. Going to push towards quad. Again, Blade just rotating backwards and backwards so his teammates can help him. Gets another pick and a third one. He's going to get an ace here.
Well, looks like the ace is denied, but I think Epsilon are concerned with other things right now. Their entire team is falling into on Screen. Screen's going to get annihilated by Blade as well. That's a 4-kill from him, just locking down quad area. And that is brutal. That's really brutal. This means that Epsilon are almost at this point just thinking about the next map already. They've got to remove these bad feelings and about what happened on this map and just kind of chalk it off to just, I don't know, poor luck. I don't know, whatever I don't know how they can excuse themselves in their own minds with this, but they have to find a way because losing to dAT would be a huge upset for them.
See what they can do here. Again, 2-man hold on quad is working out so far. That nade is going to do some damage. Bombs down, and the rest of them will get cleaned up. Save for GMX. He is the last man standing versus 3. Oh, has a gun, but there's no bullets in the mag, and that's going to be that. So, that charging towards round 16. They're on 14 at the moment, so 2 more to go. We see another eco here from Epsilon in a very awkward situation.
I actually think they should buy here because obviously if dAT win this one, they go to match point, but also the economy of dAT is such that if they lose this round, they have to eco. But if they win this one, then they're not going to have to eco. So I actually feel like Epsilon should have bought this round, even though it's going to be a terrible buy. There are low eco strats you can do, but either way, flamie. Just beasting once again. The guy is on point today. He's absolutely hitting every shot. And Epsilon are going to have to put all their money, well, quite literally everything, into the next round and hope that they can bring it back from just many, many match points of that.
What is... Well, it's match point. I have no comments on that.
I really feel like they should have bought the last round. But now they're going to have the... by coming in the AKs, but they can't. If they lose one, it's over. So it's pretty rough.
Yeah, they're facing match point for the rest of the of this game.
Yeah,
game point or whatever. But
now
but it's not much different really than it being 14.
But they can't.
On the less favoured side.
But the thing is that dAT aren't going to eco now if they win one. So it's going to be harder for them to get like a spree going of rounds. They will not get a 3-1 if they win this. I think there's another buy on dAT. If they lose this, I do believe. Yeah, there is. There's another buy on dAT if they lose this. So
I don't. But then again, I don't know how much that matters, considering they need 13 rounds. They're gonna have buys at some point. So whether it's the round straight after or the round after that, it's Yeah, I think when they've only got 3 rounds on the board, it's neither here nor there. That's how I feel about it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can see that. It's definitely a matter of choice. I know, for example, the way that Threat would interpret that situation is that he would just try to buy as much as possible when it gets to this like really impossible spot where you've so many rounds behind, because you just have to win rounds. Because you can find ways to win rounds even with a low economy. So if you really have to, there are ways.
You can see AdreN was holding the angle on the barrels there, which is a pop flash onto potential B pushes. Ooh, we have the wrap towards B.
Very nice.
And I'm wondering if they're aware. We can see some kind of a rotation here from WorldEdit. But Blade was just standing there for the longest time. Now we've got 2 CTs pushing behind the Cs, so they're going to get sandwiched in between. But can they take a bomb site? That's the question. And the camera's gone absolutely bananas.
To get the bomb down though with a 2-on-3 situation, so it might just be able to bring this round to a close, but they're against 3 here. FACEIT are going to try to make that. 2, but it's going to actually go the way of dAT, who are bearing down on the position of GMX over by the back boxes here. And we do have the frag cleaned up, and it will be the first map here going to dAT. A 16-3 showing, very strong, very decisive, and a map pick of Epsilon going down the toilet for Epsilon. They've got to go to Overpass now, which is dAT's pick, and if dAT picked it, and especially a team like this, and we obviously saw how much rehearsal they had on this map, you can only expect the same for Overpass as well.
Well, if you're Epsilon right now, are you demoralized, or do you just say, okay, that was a crap map, on to the next one?
Well, you have to be able to forget. As like professional players, professional teams, you have to have the ability to just move on, just let go, and just say we're going to go back to this later, and just reset. If you can't reset, if you're playing with, and this is like a really terrible thing. This is like a very I think that everybody has to deal with, you know, being a professional player. You will have these performances where you sucked basically, and you're like, I just lost the game for my team, and obviously that feels a lot worse than if your team had a bad match, because at least you can kind of take the burden as a team, be like, all right, guys, like we believe in, you know, that we can do a lot better. Let's focus on this next map now. Just remove that result completely. If it's just like you, and you're like, man, I'm just not hitting anything. That's the hardest one to let go of, because the game feels terrible. Like everything feels terrible. It all feels like your fault. It's just
kind of feels like you're really heavy and you're kind of dragging your team underwater or something. But I think these guys have played enough games to be above those kind of emotions.
Yeah, it's really it can be really rough, because you can have this like psychological effect where you start. Actually, this is a very common thing in poker actually as well. We have people changing their strategies because they are like outcome oriented. So you start being like really afraid that the plays are going to be losing you money, so you're like you play a little bit tighter when your strategy is actually
what if it doesn't
to be more
work,
open.
Right?
Exactly, and you're playing against the strategy. And in poker, the whole point of that is having like a strategy which you've kind of vetted over like 20, 30,000 hands, big sample sizes. Like this strategy works, but you subconsciously start playing tighter against the strategy you want to play, so you're playing suboptimally. It's like this can be the same in CS. You start like missing shots, and you stop taking the risks that you'd normally take, which is what maybe makes you a great player. Imagine if your entry fraggers are too scared to do entry frags properly, or if they aren't as decisive on the snaps because they don't believe in their aim. This is a very common psychological problem that every player experiences, I think. So, and this is why some people are the best. It's like there's all these like little elements. I think a lot of the psychology behind being a professional player is completely what makes the top, like some of the top players, the top players. It's their almost unique ability to just overcome all of these crazy little nuances, and to just always perform and have consistency. Consistency is like
Consistency is key.
It's like the snow leopard, man, and you can't. You're like in the woods trying to find it. You don't even know if it exists, but you're looking for it. That's what it is. It's the snow leopard. So I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard. I think from all of my experience over the last decade in like professional scenes or whatever, consistency is always like the question mark for so many players, because everyone can play amazing. I'm sure like there's people in the audience as well who've had like amazing games and they got great skill, but they just like can't do it in the match, or they do it in some matches but not others. Like what's the formula? It's like it's terrible. It's hard to deal with.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree.
That run though.
Yeah. So we are going to be into the second map, but while the players connect, etc., we will go to a short break. So we'll be back with you in a few minutes.